Good morning, people. First of all, this video is going to be a complete walkthrough of the paid version of Replit. I have the Pro plan, as you can kind of see, not kind of, as you can see here, Replit Core. And so what we're going to do today is do a complete walkthrough of every single button and walk you through the entire version of Replit. So first of all, grab your coffee. This is perfect for a Saturday or Sunday morning. All right, let's dive in. So what you see here is going to be the main page. This is where you start your prompts. I've already built a few apps. I've deleted plenty more just because I like having a clean workspace. I've probably made at this point 25 apps. And you can really explore a lot because with the core plan, it's $25 a month right now. This is July 2025. And that's quite a lot of credits, especially for the agent. So it's just really valuable. And basically, you're paying to iterate, you're paying to explore, you're paying to experiment. We can even dive into an app and just start one from scratch. But overall, the cost is worth the value, especially if you are like me and you make money with Replit in some way, shape, or form. Either that's building your own SaaS, that's providing Replit as a service, whether you're even making content like this with Replit. There's many ways to make money with Replit, just tying your bank account to actually your time spent in Replit. Overall, this is what you see here when you land. Now, what you see here, you can do different app types: modern web app, interactive data app, 3D game web app. With Python specifically, this is the attachment file where you can attach any sort of file that you want. The right here is going to be, it's bugged right now, but usually it's improved prompt. So if you say sample prompt, actually, so let's just go into, let's just try a stock analysis. And we click improve prompt. It will go in and improve exactly what we've put in here. And all it does is core features, visual references. So for visual references, you're always going to want to put in screenshots. Style guide is pretty good. Fine. So this is interesting. This is kind of what you want to do. And what you can do, a little extra hack here, is paste this into ChatGPT or another prompting tool. I use ChatGPT. That's my stack. Replit, sometimes Supabase, depending. But Replit has their own native databasing tool. And a lot of these platforms are going to move toward that model. They're going to keep everything in-house. Just like Google doesn't want you to go outside of the Google universe, these vibe coding platforms don't want you to go outside the vibe coding universe. And that's fine. I would recommend, if it's not Replit, you're here because you love Replit. You're here because you're using Replit. You're here because you've paid for Replit or you're thinking about paying for Replit. I love Replit. It's my favorite. It's the one I like most. I'm just going to stick to it and just know that Amjad is going to take care of us. He's a great founder and he's been doing this a long time. This is also not a new platform. They have had this vision and trying to bring this to life for a long time. They got lucky that AI has caught up to them, and now they're getting the benefits and results of that. So back to what I was saying, you can put in and make a PRD in ChatGPT. I would say that these aren't best at like putting out a PRD. I would limit this to either 1 or 2 core features. I don't like to even delete this. Don't need to download. Interactive chart and stock symbol input. So anyways, that is what you do here. You can undo it. You can improve the prompt. Let's just say we improve the prompt again. After making a few changes, it's going to go in there and improve it. And that's basically as good as it gets. All right. So here are just some 3 ones to explore. I would recommend in your first time, just go with one of the ones they recommend and see how it operates and see how it flows. All right. Your recent apps, you can view all apps here. Install on Replit, you can have this on your phone, which is pretty fun. I have tried to make Replit my #1 most used app on my phone in my screen time and replace whatever else I was using. I've had this project of diminishing my screen time below 90 minutes. And 90 minutes is basically just like using messages, opening emails that come inbound. That's basically 90 minutes of stuff just to respond to the inbound stuff every day. So over here, we have documentation, learn, templates, bounties, teams, usage, deployments, apps, home, import code or design. You can import design from Figma. We can kind of go through all these here, but let's give the whole tour. So let's go ahead and start with apps. This is where you would go into your apps. This is very simple. You're going to see the ones that you've built. You're going to have favorite or starred. Let's just, I want to star this one. This is one I use for client work, personal project of mine and personal project of mine. Over here, edit, cover page, remix, move, select. Remix is basically just taking that source code and putting it somewhere else. So if we go to cover page, this is exactly what you're going to see, remix this app. So you can basically edit that, remix that over there. Shared with me, new folders. You can create a new one, and that is basically the app screen. Over on deployments, this is what you have deployed and live out there. So if I go over here, it's going to open up a new project, but you're not going to be able to see that because that tab's not being recorded. It just opens it up. All right, very simple. Usage, going to go over billing and what you're using within the app. So here it is. I've used $3, my $25 budget here. You can manage your thing there. Here's what you're using and how much you've spent on what. Very good view over here, especially when you have production apps that you're going to be using Replit's database on. You're going to be able to see how much of your deployment credits you're using and kind of how much you more need to amp your spend up. Super simple. Teams, announcing all new Replit Teams plan. Again, I'm just a solopreneur. I'm working on myself on this one specifically. I don't have any partners with me. So you can do this and you can get started with your teams and be a member of a team. I could see this at enterprise scale, you being a part of different teams, like when you onboard to a new company and they run Replit on the back end and help vibe code, then you're going to be able to be a team member there. Bounties. This is where Replit basically is trying to operate a marketplace for small one-off projects. If you go sort by posting date or for sort by reward, people will pay for this, but there's an in-app currency. Let's see completed bounties. So someone, Adonis Codes, claimed this one. This was a bounty. Continue to love working with Adonis. Dining UI and functionality explorations, very simple. So that person hired him. Build a Shopify and blockchain experience with Third Web, claimed by Richard. Again, so people are paying multiple thousands for these projects. So some good GMV here, which is fun. Templates. This is where you can basically start off with either a off-the-shelf template or just core web stacks. So again, access to open, like this just has everything configured on the back end, and you can search for whatever you would want to do. So if, let's say I want to have an OpenAI and use my paid license there, all right, there, you can do that if you want to do some sort of cloud on the back end, or that's probably not a good idea. Gemini, maybe? Yep. Okay, there's the Gemini LLM. So super simple there. There's also other different types of starter apps, frames, extensions, cloud, bots, games, graphics, verified partners, websites, AI. So totally up to you what you want to do here. If you go down to learn, this is basically describing the code. So get tutorial with a kind of coding courses, which is nice. YouTube tutorials, which is the product manager. I believe his name is Matt. Sorry if that's not your name. Covering the basics of what Replit is. Deployment, bounty hunter, boot camp. So you can basically understand how to stand out as a bounty hunter. Coding lessons. This is just traditional coding. This is really good. I haven't actually watched any of these here, but it is a good place to start. So for example, you can go in and do a Wordle remix and just understand the code if you wanted to. I don't know how much of a focus this is for them and how they're going to be doing this, but I have to imagine 100 days of code is not as relevant anymore with vibe coding, but who knows? And then full documentation that goes into their docs, and they have a pretty robust documentation. I would say if you're going to use a external app to build a PRD, you would want to have it refer to docs.replit.com so that your PRD, your product requirements document, is going to be Replit friendly. Okay, moving back here. So if we go into up here, notifications, that's just going to show you any sort of notifications if you had a building in the background, like agent is going, something like that. You can always do Command K, which I really like. Command K is something I stole from Notion when I was using that, but you can open this up and just be doing this. So you can search and run commands. So if you wanted to go to Assistant and kind of run into any sort of thing that you wanted to, you totally could. If we go into Help, all systems operational, this is great. So that's going to tell you if anything is bugging out. Get help, community hub, view updates, read the docs. For an earn, so they give $10 in credits for whenever friends sign up. So if you're running traffic to anything, you can have a referral link. You can see here. File is just going to have some basic information about you. There's me. There I am. Public apps, I have Para up there. And then create team would be, okay, I want to sign up and have multiple members in my team. Different functions or data workflows, interviewing, building a startup, building demos, internal tools at work, organization name there. And then you have a command line, CLI, command line interface here if you wanted to. So you could manage your account if you wanted to do docs or whatever you wanted to do, team. You could basically do that or have agent do that as well. All right. So that is basically a full walkthrough of everything you might see on the paid version of Replit. This is the homepage. We can dive into crazy detail more. So if we go into building the stock analysis and then we improve this prompt, all right, and then we go say start chat. With Replit, there is a planning phase and a building phase. So what I want to do is show you what would happen in the paid version of when you go into and implement this plan. I think you get a few credits free, but when you start to build and start to use agent at scale to help you code and help you build this thing out, that is when you hit the requirements and you hit the limits for the paid plan. Let's always just, okay, cool. Send that, revise the plan. All right. And then you go approve plan and start. And so whenever this pops up, you're going to have preview. This is going to be the visual preview of the code that the agent is putting together on the left-hand side. The console, you can pull this up. Again, it's going to open up in tabs over in this viewing window here. So it's going to build that kind of stuff on the back end. On the database, you can always see the database running in the background here. I always like to open up deployments, and then I always like to open up Git as well, just because putting it out and exporting into Git will help version control. It will help save your work. It's pretty useful. But just going in and preview. Again, this usually takes a little bit of time here. Mobile app is savvy. I would recommend using it. There's no difference in functionality. No difference. It is fantastic. It's fun to use. It's my toy. It's my new mobile app toy. Now over here, if I go in and show you the different types of tools you can use, this is going to be the cloud services native to Replit. Key value store, object storage database, auth deployments, and security scanner. Security scanner is pretty helpful if you're going to be running this, handing this over to a client, but I would always recommend at this stage hiring out a third-party security expert just to finish the project and make sure that you don't have any vulnerabilities there. Chat and threads, you can chat with other collaborators on Replit. I haven't used this. I haven't also used threads. Workplace features, this is pretty useful. So I would always open up problems too, just to have it check for it. Secrets is going to be like the different websites you have. So I wouldn't open up that, or not websites, but the different user login info. Shell, if you want to actually go in the CLI and the command line interface native to your machine and run Replit there, you totally could. Remote access, if you wanted that for any sort of reason. VNC is kind of the same thing, and then workflows. It's just a different way to run your app. Extension store, I don't think they're putting much time and energy into extension store right now, but maybe it's going to be in the future, and then docs and user settings there. So again, those tools just open up over here. So if we go to workflows right here, this is where it's going to be running. So you can do that. The deploy is going to be either here or here. The database is going to be here, or you can just ask agents kind of what you're putting into your database. I would always recommend that if you're using this, an agent, and you want to understand what's happening on the back end, you can always go into the code and see what it's writing and why. So you can always say, hey, interesting. And then very cool, if I actually show you this, if we go into preview and we open this up, so we can actually show 5 more. Let's go into this utils in Python here. It will open up the code and the file that you have in here. And then you can say, oh, interesting, here's some notes, stock data manager, and then just have it explain with assistant and say, what is this? This is a very useful tool. A Python class called this, class definition, doc string that serves as documentation, comment for the class. This is called a doc string, just showing you exactly what's going on here. So again, if you're vibe coding and you want to marry what you're building with some of that foundational coding knowledge, you totally can on this. All right. And that is a full demo, full walkthrough of the paid version. From here, you can keep building. I always like to say, okay, interesting. It's got a professional stock. It's still considering options, so it's still building. So I wouldn't click around here too much. It's not actually a bad start, to be frank with you. So that is the full demo and full walkthrough of the paid version of Replit. Yeah, peace.